Welcome back to episode 2 of 10 games you should buy for your Nintendo Switch this Christmas in 2024. These games are the most essential games on Nintendo Switch in my opinion. Like I've said before, the Nintendo Switch has an amazing lineup of games and these games are so essential to the Nintendo library. So make sure you pick these games up and play them on your Switch because they are amazing games. So let's get to it. Number 1. So number 1, I've got Super Mario Odyssey. This game was a launch title for the Nintendo Switch and is a mainline Mario game. This game is unreal. It's so good. This is one of the best 3D Mario games. In fact, it might even be the best. It's really good at being one of those games where you can just explore and do what you want because this game is so open to exploring the different lands that you visit. Look for all the different moons, which is the main feature of this game. You are, instead of getting shines or stars, you are looking for moons. And there seems to be moons absolutely everywhere in this game. Literally doing the smallest little thing in this game will get you a moon. You are joined by a character known as Cappy, who basically gives you the power to take over different creatures across the whole Mario universe. So this is really interesting as the gameplay is constantly changing whenever you manage to basically collect a new character to play as, a new little creature like a Goomba or even a Yoshi or a Bullet Bill. Like, you even get to be a dinosaur in this game. It's that awesome. This is just fun. Like, it's a really good Mario game. It's platforming at its best, and Mario is just genuinely the best game franchise of all time anyway. So Super Mario 64 was my first experience with Mario, and you know, this is just that game but massively better, and that's why this game is a must play. So there you go, Super Mario Odyssey. Next up is Pokemon Sword and Shield. You can also get Shield as well. This kind of is the last traditional Pokemon game. This was the Pokemon game where you go down routes and explore the world, where you kind of have a more linear path, whereas another game which came after this game is now open world, and same with Legends Arceus, which is in my last video. This was the last real traditional Pokemon game in my opinion. This game is really good. I actually like it. It's not the best Pokemon game in my opinion. I still enjoyed it. I'm kind of biased to this one a little bit because this game takes place in England, and obviously I'm an English content creator. I understand this game because I like the environment this game takes place in, and I kind of see the differences and the similarities between, you know, the real England and this game's version known as the Galar region. I do think it's essential because there's so many Pokemon in this you can collect. There's the Galar variants you can collect. This game kind of had a little bit of trouble when it was released. People were slating it for not being the Pokemon game they were expecting because it felt a little bit like a 3DS game, which had just been kind of upscaled to Nintendo Switch, but it's understandable. This was the first like big 3D Pokemon game after the DS games, and it also has the Gigantamax feature as well. So the Gigantamax is basically like a special move you can give your Pokemon that when you're in battles you can Gigantamax them and it turns them into these gigantic versions of themselves for big battles. And yeah, and also when you go online as well, there's Gigantamax battles which you can go online and play with other people and catch gigantic Pokemon. There is the open area world part of the game, which I forget the name of. It's kind of like Pokemon Violet and Scarlet before Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, if you know what I mean. You do get a bicycle which you can use to go and traverse the world. What do you think about this? Next game is the big one. And when I say the big one, I mean The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now this game is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. 3 times bigger than Breath of the Wild. If you finish Breath of the Wild, I really highly recommend you move on to this game because it is basically an advanced version of that game. And this is just, yeah, the story, in my opinion, is better than Breath of the Wild. The dungeons in this game are better than Breath of the Wild. The gameplay, like the Ultra Hand stuff, is better than any of the special runes that you got in Breath of the Wild. Also, the Ascend ability in this game is one of those abilities that really changes the game, as there's basically 3 layers to this game. You've got the Sky World, you've got Hyrule, and then you have the Depths. You've got the Hyrule map, which has been remastered for this game, so there's new environments and new stories, new quests, new things happening across Hyrule. So it's the same map as in Breath of the Wild, but it's basically like what happened to Hyrule after the events of Breath of the Wild. This game answers that. And then the Depths as well is the kind of underworld area of this game. It's the dark world of this Legend of Zelda game, which is completely pitch black. The way to traverse this is you need to go find the light routes. What I mean by that is there's certain kind of landmarks across the whole of the Depths which you're supposed to travel to using your equipment which you have, and you can light up the area once you've gone to a light route. There's monsters and more difficult creatures found in the Depths, There's also better equipment found in the depths which you can find. It's a challenging game. It's not the easiest game you'll ever play, and it's not the hardest game you'll ever play. It's just ultimately fun. It's long. It took me at least about 100 hours to fully feel like I'd finished the game, like done everything I wanted to do in the game before I moved on to my next game. So there's a lot of gameplay in this game to play. I don't feel like this game is as refined as Breath of the Wild in my opinion. I feel like this game has got issues, it's got flaws to it, but I do think that Breath of the Wild also has flaws as well, whereas I feel like the flaws in this game are a little bit bigger, and I still love it. I think it's an amazing game. It's not my favourite Zelda game ever, but I do think it's still a great game. Worth to say that you had it on your Nintendo Switch, because it is the game to get for your Nintendo Switch. It's the game that most people enjoy playing when it comes to Legend of Zelda. When you see people playing any Zelda games, this is probably the one they're playing. There was a lot changed about this game as well. It fixed a lot of the problems. There was things in Breath of the Wild such as the weapons breaking too often. This game gives you the opportunity to fix that, as well as the dungeons in Breath of the Wild, which were replaced with the Divine Beasts. The Divine Beasts are gone now in this game, and you go back to dungeons. However, the dungeons aren't perfect in Tears of the Kingdom, as they do feel like expanded versions of the Divine Beasts, and not traditional dungeons like you would find in, say, A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, or Majora's Mask. The build-up in the story to any of the kind of phenomenon areas which you will go to, great. I really like the stories, like the kind of smaller stories in this game which you can find. If I had to explain this game in one way, I would say this game is the Minecraft of the Legend of Zelda series when it comes to the Ultra Hand stuff, because you get the abilities to build whatever you like. Build vehicles, build robots, build whatever you want. The whole point of this game is it's a do what the hell you want. That's kind of what Tears of the Kingdom is. It's a game where you're given the opportunity to do what you like. Breath of the Wild was very much like that. Tears of the Kingdom takes that to 11. So next up is the game that sold the most amount of copies on Nintendo Switch, and that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's the best Mario Kart. Easily the best Mario Kart. I've got so many memories of playing this game now. It's been out for way too long in my opinion, but I won't say that's a bad thing, because this game has been expanded twice. Originally it was a Wii U game, it then got ported to Nintendo Switch, so it was expanded upon as you got more characters. They actually expanded this game again with the Mario Kart 8 expansion pack, which gave you double the amount of tracks and new characters to play as. So this is the biggest Mario Kart game there is. It's the best of every single Mario Kart combined into one, and I genuinely think this is just incredible. This is the game that everybody should have on the Nintendo Switch, no matter what. Mario Kart 8, unreal. If you've never played Mario Kart, play this one. It's so easy to just pick up and play. You can even play this game with motion controls, and it feels really, really nice. If you've got families and friends that want to play off your Nintendo Switch, this is the party game to play. It's so pick up and play that anyone can really play it. Even little children who don't really play video games, they can play this, because you can use the motion controls, and you can set the cars to auto move as well, so they're constantly moving. So even if they haven't got the ability to press buttons just yet, they can just play using the motion controls, and it's awesome. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe looks amazing as well. I've played this game on a cinema screen twice, because I used to work in a cinema. I got the chance to hook my Nintendo Switch to one of the cinema screen projectors and project it onto a huge cinema screen, and it looks phenomenal. Considering this is a Nintendo Switch game, it looks better than some games on the Xbox Series X or the PS5 in my opinion. And I generally think this is a really, really nice game to look at. Beautiful looking game, beautiful gameplay. It really feels like the quintessential Mario Kart game. Honestly, get this. Before I carry on, I would like to recommend that you please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to hit 1,500 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm kind of starting to doubt that that's going to happen. Show that you are enjoying this content by subscribing and interacting with this channel. It really helps me out. Thank you very much. Anyway, next game. Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So this was a port of a Wii U game of Pikmin 3, and Pikmin 3 is the third game in the Pikmin series. If you've never played Pikmin 3, I actually think this is my favourite in the series, and the reason for that is because of the multiplayer aspect to this. So you can play this game with another person. So with this game being Pikmin 3, there are 3 characters to play as. If you're going to play it with someone else. As a game that is about collecting Pikmin and building up like a small little colony of Pikmin and creating this like miniature army to go against gigantic creatures and to explore this like huge land that is full of junk that you have to collect to build your spaceship. It sounds silly because like the Pikmin are little creatures that are really cute actually. They have a lot of personality. When you play with them, you get a bit stressed with this game because they are so lovable that when you end up using them to fight gigantic creatures, you get worried for them because the boss fights and the monster fights, they can be stressful. Some of them are really difficult, and the whole point of the game is it's kind of got that Metroidvania feel to them, I suppose, where you're supposed to kind of backtrack a little bit and go back to that gigantic monster that you couldn't beat before. And the idea is that it's this game that is on a time scale, so kind of have it like Majora's Mask where it's on a timeline, where it's got a clock, an in-game clock. You have like days where it's day 1, day 2, day 3, and over that day you're supposed to kind of schedule your day and decide how you're going to interact with the world on that day. Which enemies are you going to fight? Which Pikmin are you going to pluck? That kind of stuff. And over time, obviously, the more you play, the bigger army you build when it comes to scheduling. How do you treat this game? How do you figure out what to do next? And there is a story in this game as well, so it guides you forwards and there's different levels to play, and over time you'll realise that you can do more and more the more you play, and you can go back to places that you couldn't go before and stuff like that. So Pikmin 3, great game. Lots of different abilities to take upon as well as new Pikmin in this game. Obviously this isn't Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is the latest game in the series, but I still think this is worth playing if you haven't already. It's one of the essential games on Nintendo Switch. Next up is a game known as ARMS. Now this game was a launch title for the Nintendo Switch. This is such an underrated game in my opinion. The idea of this game is it's supposed to be like a boxing game where you have springy arms, and the idea is that you play with motion controls. You can play with stick controls as well if you really want to, if you don't like motion controls. You can use motion controls to basically fight each other. So if this is a multiplayer game at heart, the game comes with really fun characters and lots of different fun levels. A game I can compare this to is, think Punch-Out but with Power Stone, if you've ever played Power Stone. It's got that Power Stone environment to it where it's in like a 3D area, as well as the boxing mechanics of Punch-Out. So I don't think this is a replacement for Punch-Out, but I do think this is an underrated Nintendo Switch game. And I think a lot of people missed out on this one because it is basically a multiplayer game. There's not really a story to this game. It's kind of just you're thrown into it. Here's the characters. Choose your favourite. Go fight whoever. Go onto your favourite levels. There's lots of different ones, lots of different stages. Characters were added to this game over time, so this game is now complete to play. ARMS is just a really good fun time. It's not the best game on Nintendo Switch, but it is super essential if you just want a really, really good multiplayer game to play with a friend. And I really enjoy this game, so ARMS, I think give it a chance. A lot of people slept on this game, so I don't think you should. Next up is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This is a spin-off game to the Mario series. This version of Captain Toad is a character from Super Mario 3D World. Super Mario 3D World was a Wii U game, which then eventually got ported to Nintendo Switch, which I will talk about in the future. This is a puzzle game where you have to kind of control the environment to guide Captain Toad to find the route to get to the final area of the level. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is Captain Toad's own story. I really enjoyed this game actually. I think this is a really, really fun little smaller game for the Nintendo Switch. If you like puzzle games, this is one of the best on Nintendo Switch in my opinion. My partner really loves puzzle games, and I actually bought this for her at Christmas one year, and she had lots of fun with this. It gets more difficult throughout, like you'd expect, and the puzzles get bigger and more advanced. Final level of this game, in my opinion, is one of the hardest Mario levels in any Mario game ever, and I really think it's worth playing. You can play co-op with this game as well, so there is an ability for a second player to play where they get to use pointer controls to shoot enemies. It's not really a two-player mode, it just kind of is like a advanced help kind of thing. But yeah, there's lots of things to do in this, lots of different stories. There's actually, I think it's 3 different campaigns, like there's 3 different chapters to this game. And yeah, the more you play it, the more fun it gets in my opinion. It's just a great time, like it's so charming. Captain Toad is actually a very underrated character in my opinion, and I think actually Captain Toad should be in Super Smash Bros. This game also comes with Super Mario Odyssey levels, so because this game was re-released on Nintendo Switch, they had to add levels to this game, and it came with some Super Mario Odyssey themed levels. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think you would as well. Next up is Ring Fit Adventure. Now, this is an interesting one because this is a fitness game, but it's the best fitness game ever made. So Ring Fit Adventure is a JRPG game that's also a fitness game. If you ever feel like you don't enjoy fitness because you find it boring or it's not fun to you, this is perfect. This is Ring Fit Adventure, and the idea of it is you're supposed to enjoy fitness. The way Nintendo got around that was they made a JRPG which is built around Pilates exercise. Pilates exercise is basically strength fitness. So the idea is that you're supposed to use like this little ring, but the ring you use is to test your strength, your stamina, your endurance, anything like that which involves fitness. The ring is there to help build you. It builds your cardio. Ring Fit Adventure is just a really, really fun time. So the story of this game is over time you basically build your character's abilities to fight using poses and stretches and different techniques, all to face this character known as Drago, who is the bully character that we often stereotypically see in gyms, in any kind of media that involves kind of fitness or sports. There's always that one bully character. And Drago is that bully character who is a gigantic dragon. He's a muscular dragon who is always there to try and act like he is better than you at fitness. He is your goal. He is the goal of, you need to beat this guy. You need to get fit. You need to beat him. The only way to beat him is to push yourself and train. It's a JRPG, so it's turn-based combat, and you come across different enemies in the world and stuff like that. It's not like random encounters, but the levels you play are kind of like linear levels, which you find the enemies on and you'll bump into them. You can skip them eventually. You fight them using different powers, using different poses and different actions that you do with the Pilates ring. That is Ring Fit Adventure. Really fun game. I actually did this game for a while. I played this game for at least a couple of months. And yeah, I actually lost weight playing this and had better cardio. I really want to get back into this, and I think in the new year might actually do a 1 year stint of playing this and film it for you guys. So there we go. Another game that's perfect for Christmas, in my opinion, and that is 51 Worldwide Games. This game is my partner's favourite. She really loves this game. And the reason for that is because it is a easy play game. You can just literally pick this one up and play it. 51 games are available to you. I think it's called 51 Clubhouse Games in America. It comes with games like chess, yacht, cards, checkers. There's even toy games available like toy golf or toy football, stuff like that. So this game is full of lots of little mini games you can play. Some of them are really, really good. Some of them aren't as good in my opinion, but 51 Worldwide Games. Yeah, there's so many games here, so many options to choose from. If you're ever bored, I played this last year on New Year's Eve during that kind of period while you're waiting for the 12 o'clock thing to happen. Playing this with a friend is really good as well. If you don't have anything to play, just play this. Me and my partner love playing this when we're bored. We just play it when we can, and we like the game Yachts. Yachts really fun. It's like this kind of dice game. You have to choose like where you place your points and stuff like that, and it gets very competitive. We also encourage each other while we're playing these games, and just to really enjoy playing them. The cards games are really fun, and I've learned how to play a lot of cards games because of this game. Chess as well is always really fun. Chess is a literal favorite of the world, so if you've got chess on here, you're winning. There's a Tetris style game which I forget the name of, but that Tetris game is really, really fun. Plays slightly different to Tetris, but it's still really, really good. It's like bubbles instead of cubes. There's also a game on here that is very similar to Wii Sports Bowling. It's not quite Wii Sports Bowling, but it's very similar. The way it plays feels very similar. I really recommend this game. I think it's a really, really good game. If you've got nothing to play, perfect. And last but not least is Metroid Prime Remastered. This game, I'm not even joking, this game is one of the best games ever made. Metroid Prime Remastered is the best first-person action adventure game. This is the game to get. Like, it's seriously so good. It's a first-person shooting game, but it's also an adventure game. It comes from the Metroidvania genre, and it's basically 2D Metroid translated into 3D in first person. And if you've ever wondered what that looks like, this is what it is. There's also a Metroid Prime 4 coming out next year, and Metroid Prime 4 is probably one of my most anticipated Nintendo games coming out. And this is the first game in the series. Definitely try playing this one because it just looks phenomenal. It's the best looking game on Nintendo Switch in my opinion. It looks amazing on a Switch OLED if you're playing handheld. It really, really does. It just pops. Like the The visuals really pop. This was originally a Nintendo GameCube game, and it was one of the best games on Nintendo GameCube, and it's now been ported to Nintendo Switch and is one of the best games on Nintendo Switch. I really highly recommend this game. The story of it being this kind of dark world that Samus has been dropped into, the idea is that you're supposed to explore and just check out the world. There is a set route that you take in this world, but there's nothing wrong with just exploring and trying to find where to go next and just scanning the area for information and stuff like that, and seeing how this world has been treated over the years, and with the Chozo ruins and stuff like that. Seeing Meta Ridley and how that story's evolved, and Samus is just a really interesting character in general. She is the silent protagonist that has a lot of character. This game is the best Samus has ever been. Metroid Prime Remastered is where I discovered the Metroid series and what the Metroid series is all about. I really love this game. I genuinely think this is one of the best games on Nintendo Switch. If you've not played it, highly recommended. The game isn't the longest game in the world either. You want a short and sweet game, this is perfect for that. Some people can just breeze through this game, some people really struggle with it. It is a complicated labyrinth of different corridors and areas to explore. Think of this game as one gigantic Zelda dungeon, and that is the game. Like, the whole 20 hours of this game is just a one gigantic dungeon to go explore, and that is basically what this is. So if you like first person shooters, consider this. Another thing I will say about this game is the music in this game is some of the best music Nintendo ever produced. For me, some of the iconic music ever in Nintendo, any kind of music you can think of, a lot of it comes from this game. This game is just Metroid at its best. And there we go. That is 10 more games I feel are essential for your Nintendo Switch. So I really do recommend these games. If you're getting your Nintendo Switch for Christmas, these are 10 more games to think about. If you've liked this video, please do like, comment, subscribe on this video. It really helps the channel out. I'm trying to reach 1,500 subscribers by the end of the year. So thank you very much for watching. If you've got this far, I really appreciate it. I enjoy making these kinds of videos, and I'm going to be making more. So this is episode 2 of a series I'm currently doing. I will be making episode 3 eventually, so please do look out for that. In the meantime, here you go. Here is episode 1. So check out episode 1 right here. You can do that. I shall see you for the next video. Bye!